If your practice is starting to feel stale and it's just not keeping your interest anymore, or if you're stuck in a plateau and you're not seeing any progress in your playing, I've got something fun for you today. Check this out. You can download the tabs and sheet music for that piece completely free, my gift to you, at beyondtheguitar.com/left-hand, or click the link down below in the description. So if God has blessed most of us with two hands, what's the point in practicing with just one? I'm gonna break down 3 benefits that practicing one-handed like this will have on your technique. And make sure you stick around to the end, because I'm gonna show you how to fix your hammer-ons and pull-offs if you're struggling with them being sloppy and sounding weak. All right, so benefit number 1 of practicing this one-handed exercise is that we can break out of plateaus in our progress by shaking things up in our practice and trying something completely foreign to us and approaching our instrument in a new way. If you're always practicing the same thing, you run the risk of your practice becoming stale and boring. And if your practice is boring, you're gonna stop pushing, you're gonna grow complacent. And if you stop pushing and you're just going through the motions, you're gonna stop improving. You're gonna stop paying attention to the things that you need to pay attention to, and you're gonna stop doing the things that you need to do to see progress. Taking on a unique challenge like this one-handed exercise shocks your system. It shocks you out of that complacency, and it forces you to look at your technique in new and fresh ways. And at the end of the day, it's just fun to sometimes change things up in our practice and to tackle a completely new and unique challenge. Benefit number 2 is that it gives us the opportunity to laser focus in on our fretting hand technique. Our focus is limited. We can only pay attention to so much at a time. And because of that limited focus, your progress is slower than it could be because you're often not aware of what you're doing wrong at any given moment. We don't realize this, but our brain is making hundreds of these little micro calculations and decisions just to play a single note on the guitar. So if we remove the plucking hand from the equation completely, we can cut those thoughts in half, freeing up a ton of focus and attention that we can dedicate to our fretting hand technique. With this left hand only practice, you're now free to pay attention to all those important, minute details of your fretting hand technique. Like, are you storing up any unnecessary tension? How efficiently are your fingers moving? How precise and accurate are those movements? All without any distractions from the plucking hand. The third and final benefit is that it's an incredible hammer-on and pull-off exercise. The whole thing is literally hammer-ons and pull-offs, so you're gonna be getting in those reps to build that technique. And it's actual music. It sounds nice and it's fun to play, unlike most hammer-on and pull-off exercises. Now let's talk about your technique, starting with hammer-ons. If your hammer-ons are sounding weak, you're likely prioritizing force over precision. Now, what do I mean by that? With hammer-ons, we're often so fixated on just trying to slam our fingers down as hard as possible on those notes that we're not even thinking about how efficient our fingers are moving, how accurate they're being placed, and how we are positioning them at the beginning of the movement. We're often flailing our fingers way out here to try to get enough momentum to slam them down. But the reason that becomes problematic is that, first of all, you're likely to miss your mark completely and land on the wrong string or the wrong fret or at the wrong point of the fret, all of which is going to contribute to either the wrong note altogether or just a weak sounding hammer-on, because we want to make sure that we are landing right at the edge of the fret, because that's always going to require the minimum amount of pressure to get a clean, loud note. So instead of focusing on how much force you can try to use to slam your finger down and reeling it way back like this, take that out of the equation for a moment and just focus on precision. Focus on keeping your fingers pointed toward the string at all times, and try to minimize the amount of distance you're allowing your finger to lift off of the string before it hammers on. Okay, so I'm not pulling way back here. I'm keeping it relatively close, and I'm making sure that I'm not changing my angle of approach. I'm not letting my fingertip point away from the string and then have to curl in and hammer down, because that's going to inevitably make it more difficult to be accurate. So if you prioritize precision in your hammer-ons and you just focus on keeping those fingers in place, hovering close right above the string, and making sure that you hammer directly on the edge of the fret, right behind the fret, and you make sure that you land right on the fingertip so that all the force of your finger goes straight into the string, you're going to naturally get louder, stronger hammer-ons. For a clean and snappy pull-off, you need to focus on maintaining 2 directions of force throughout the entire movement. So when I'm executing a pull-off, I'm focusing on 2 things. A downward pull, where I'm pulling my finger down through the string, and then I'm focusing on inward force, making sure that my finger, as it's pulling down, is continuing to push into the string. Those 2 components, those 2 directions of force, is what gives you that snap. The most common mistake that people make with their pull-offs is just pulling their finger up off of the string. And as you can hear, that barely produces any sound. So again, I'm pulling down through the string, and as I'm doing that, I'm continuing to push in toward the string, essentially plucking the string with my fretting hand finger. The other mistake that people make with their pull-offs is that they don't pay any attention to the finger that you're pulling off to. So in this case, my 4th finger is pulling off to the 3rd finger. Now, I need pressure and weight on this 3rd finger, on the finger that I'm pulling off to, because that's gonna keep the string firmly in place as my 4th finger pulls off. If I don't apply any pressure or weight to my 3rd finger, the finger that I'm pulling off toward, then the string is just going to move and bend along with my 4th finger as I'm trying to pull it off, inevitably creating a weak pull-off. So remember to focus on the finger that you're pulling off toward as well, and make sure that it is applying force and pressure to the string, keeping it firmly in place. All right. Leave me a comment. Let me know if you're gonna download the tabs for this exercise and trial of this for yourself. And if you wanna take things to the next level and see more progress in your playing over the next 3 months than you ever have, I wanna invite you to join my flagship guitar technique course, Fingerstyle Journey, 90 Days to Beautiful Playing, where I teach you how to master the 12 core fingerstyle techniques that you need to play your favorite fingerstyle or classical guitar pieces, all while practicing actual beautiful music and never touching a single boring drill. Go to beyondtheguitar.com/fingerstyle journey or click the link down below to learn more. All right, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.